focusing on the sellers. 2, start focusing on buyers. 3, stop asking what other marketers are doing. Whoa, 4, start sharing what your marketing efforts are. 5, stop looking for ways to fix what isn't broken. 6, start looking for ways you can have a positive impact on the project. 7, stop waiting for others to make it happen. 8, start working on what you can do to make it happen. 9, start sharing your health benefits you have seen. 10, start sharing what your mining rewards are. 11, start sharing what your Hachi rewards are. 12, become a farmer and ignore the fathers. Hey! Become a farmer and ignore the fathers. Become a farmer and ignore the fathers. Become a farmer and ignore the fathers. Become fear, uncertainty and doubt. First understanding and belief. Become a fud buster and stop playing into the forest. BS. 42 days ago we went from starting daily gunning of 3,000 tokens to dynamic daily manning based on engagement. What you are seeing is a combination of things. What you are seeing is a combination of things. Those that are disgruntled, they can't shake their phone and max out their daily mining rewards for the same MQT they got turned 3 days ago and are to claiming their incubator cards and are selling their MQT. 3, this is a correction period and an adoption period. 4, expect to see this type of behavior over 90 days, like I explained when this change was made. Stop waiting for others to make it happen. 8, start working on what you can do to make it happen. 9, start sharing your health benefits you have seen. 10, sharing what your mining rewards are. 11, start sharing what your Hachi rewards are. Become a farmer and ignore the fathers. Hey! Start. Become a farmer and ignore the fathers.
All right, all right. I want to welcome everybody to tonight's midweek call, special call called by Miss Lynette Arden herself to share more information, go into more details about what we can be looking forward to with the new blockchain and the other chains that are going to be added to the ecosystem where individuals will be able to mine MQT. So I don't have a lot of updates or anything before we get started. Hayden, let me know if you do, and if not, we'll go ahead and get Ms. Lynette on to task.
I am all set because there are actually a lot of things, but too many things for us to talk about tonight. But how you doing, first of all, Mr. Herschel Crow?
Great, great, great. Looking forward to, and one thing I want to say real quick, we have some extremely creative individuals in this community. I can only imagine as time goes on, the things that are going to come out of it. But we have some extremely creative people in our community.
It says a lot about MoveQuest being a community-driven project.
Absolutely.
No, you're absolutely right. It's always a pleasure sharing the Cyber Center stage with you, Mr. Herschel Crow. I'm just going to get right to it because I know that Miss Lynette has a lot of goodies for us tonight. So good evening, everyone, and welcome to a special Thursday edition of the MoveQuest Community Call event. Enough respect to the man called Derek all the way in Japan and Catherine Clement, of course. My name is Hayden Andre, your friendly neighborhood digital asset investor. live, energized, fired up, and as always, living in the zone of success. 2026 is gonna be lit. Okay, crypto, Web3, and blockchain fans. The founder and architect behind the idea of MoveQuest, Miss Lynette Artin, will be holding the mic in just a few moments. But before that, congratulations to everyone who was able to lock in $40 dock slots from 11 to 18. Those are now set back to $80. Congratulations to everyone who was able to merge Vanguards into the prestigious, super high powered Titans for only $150. That feature is set back to its original value of $450. Those two promos are officially over. Finito. That was some big value right there. Shows you the importance of killing the urge to procrastinate and the value of taking immediate action. But that's okay though. Fortunately for you, there are a few more juicy deals on the table to lock in. First of all, the multi-chain mining challenge is on. Phase one, however, is closed. The opportunity to receive matching NFTs is closed. Those of you who caught it, well done. Simply be consistent with submitting your proof of physical activity for 90 days and you win. Now, phase two is open right now. Those of you who missed phase one, or those of you who are new, and that's the reason why you missed phase one, of course, you can receive 40% mining power on 6 chains. Now, that's a big opportunity to scale mining power as a gift. Let me say that again. This is a very generous gift. And all you got to do is plug in and be consistent for 60 days, and you win. Now, for those of you who are new and wondering how this works, well, as of December the 13th, 2025, all MoveQuest participants who submit proof of physical activity consistently for 60 of 110 days beyond the 13th, you will receive 40% of the lowest amount of the mining power that you are mining with for those 60 days for all of the blockchains that MoveQuest will expand to. This is a massive gift. So take advantage of it, and to understand more, simply ask the person who invited you to this conversation and they will likely explain it. Now, lastly, this Saturday, January the 10th, 2026, at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the Super Saturday MoveQuest Overview event and success training. This Saturday's featured special guest will be the light paper lioness herself, Miss Lynette Artin. Mark that on your calendar, set an alert, invite as many of your friends, family members, business associates, professional colleagues, neighbors, whoever you care about, invite as many people as you possibly can. They will thank you for the rest of their life, and at the very least, you will pull away their ability to say, "Why didn't you tell me about this?" Once again, in the words of the legendary author of Think and Grow Rich, Mr. Napoleon Hill, it literally is true that you can succeed best and quickest by helping others to succeed. That's all from me today. Machine mode is in full effect all day, every day, day after day. And as I always say, the machine does not stop until the mission objective is complete. Stay focused, stay rich, max out, level up. Mr. Herschel Crow, back over to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wonderful updates, man. I'm truly, truly excited for those individuals that did get to take the opportunity to get some of those Titans and to, unlock some docking slots during that time. So that being said, without further ado, Miss Lynette, how are you doing this evening, ma'am?
I'm very good. How's everybody themselves? How are you, Herschel? How's everybody else on the call? Glad to see we got almost 300 people here because this is, I think, understanding proof of physical activity, submission fees is a big deal. And that's what we're going to be going over tonight. Yay!
Perfect.
I love that song, don't you? That last one. I mean, I love all of Cats too, but that was pretty funny. So I think what Derek did was he took a lot of what I say, he put it into it. The best part is stop being a fudder and be a fubber.
A fud buster.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, those are great. He's got a couple more, but anyway. Okay, so I'm going to start by sharing my screen because I'm going to break out the spreadsheet tonight. So I am hoping that this is showing. It doesn't appear to be. Let me kick this one more time. I don't know why sometimes my screen doesn't always show. There we go. So everybody should be able to see it now. I don't have a presentation, you guys, tonight because what I'm going to be doing is going over this spreadsheet. Can you see that spreadsheet on the?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Good.
Beautiful.
All right. So the first thing we're going to talk about are the proof of physical activity submission fees. Okay. Now, what I'm going to share with you right now was January 4th's submission fee. I started putting a sheet together then. I didn't want to go in and change everything. So it just will give you what January 4th was. We had 282 navigators that were submitting that day. And at 5 cents per navigator, that was $14.10 that come in through submission fees. We had 1,379 phantoms. That was $137.90. That was paid in that proof of physical activity submission fee. Trailblazers, 9,487. Those are 10 cents per trailblazer. So the submission fee was $948.70. There were 815 explorers, and that was $122.25. Now, I love the last two numbers, 12,798 vanguards. Okay, those who are mining with vanguards contributed $2,559.60 in their proof of physical activity submission fees. This is phenomenal. 16,525 Titans that are mining, and that was $6,610 worth of submission fee that comes through. So for that day, that was $10,392.55 for all of it, okay, from Navigator to Titan. Now, this is when we were doing the static mining, okay? When we stopped doing that, we were at 3,000 MoveQuest tokens per day that was going into circulation, okay, that were being mined every day. That was a total of 31,371 miners that were submitting that day. That was on average, okay, I think I have it set at 18, but it's actually at about 12. The average person is mining with 11 to 12 miners in their mining dock, not 18. So that would be about 2,600 wallets, okay, that submitted for that day. The market value on January 4th was $7.43. That was the high on January 4th. So if we had still been doing the static mining, which we're not, okay, but had we been doing that, it would have been 3,000 tokens that went into circulation times $7.43. Now, even with that $10,000, we still would have been under covering the full market value of every token that was mined by $11,897. This is why when you talk about growth and the engagement in the ecosystem, the more people submitting, then that begins to shift when we were still doing the 3,000, right? So if that growth would have been there, it wouldn't have been a negative $11,000 to make it fluid for everything that was mined that day. Now, in this project, we don't have to be fluid. That's just my goal, right? My goal is that we are fluid. And so everything that I do with our algorithms is pushing towards being fluid and being fluid at a stable level, and including, the depth of the liquidity pool. So when you look at this for a year, okay, we would have still injected over $4 million plus 4 million in MoveQuest tokens. So a total of, it would have been over 8 million that would have gone into the liquidity pool going at the same level that we were doing with the static mining, but we still would have been short 4.3 million for everybody to sell their tokens at that $7.43 mark. Now, again, this isn't a requirement, but I'm trying to explain to you what my goal is for this project and where we want to be at when we're talking about levels of, liquidity, the depth of the liquidity pool, fluidity, what percentage we want to be at. There's a lot of factors that play into this. Now, what I'm going to do is show you what the dynamic mining looks like, okay, with those exact same numbers. This is actual, okay, what we're doing now. So what I just showed you was the static. The way we used to do the mining was a set amount of tokens that were mined every day. Didn't matter how many people were submitting, didn't matter how many people were engaged, didn't matter if it was 10 people or if it was 100,000 people, didn't matter if it was 2,000 people or 5,000 people. It was just always the first, it started out at 2,000, then we increased it to 2,500 and we ended at the 3,000. Now we're at the static, same numbers, same dollar value, but with the dynamic mining, only 633 MoveQuest tokens were mined. Okay, that's a huge deal. When you look at that, that's, whoops, minus that 633, that's 2,367 MoveQuest tokens that aren't oversaturating the market before the demand is there. What happens to that 2,367 MoveQuest tokens? Well, that's what's in the golden hatchery. So if you're staking your MoveQuest tokens or if you're farming more MoveQuest, farming is a bit different than staking, and we've really got kind of a hybrid staking farming situation with our hatchery. Okay, it's not your typical staking protocol, and it's actually pretty awesome. You guys that are in the hatchery, you've got to love what you're mining in the golden hatchery, especially in the tier 4, because every day that you submit, you're banking the extra tokens from that 3,000. But in the tier 4, you're basically saying, I'm not going to sell these tokens that are in tier 4 for at least 210 days, right? If you want to hold your spot, you don't, because the golden hatchery, 765,000 MoveQuest tokens that's our max right now. That can go into, that'll increase over time. Like when the next year comes up for mining, there's a whole lot of factors that play into that. But right now we're locked at the max at 765,000 for the foreseeable future. And so once you lock into that tier 4, you're going to want to stay there. You're not going to want to, lose your spot. So that's why you keep mining every day, right? Because you're banking up MoveQuest that doesn't have to be in the golden hatchery. Plus you've got, a decent amount that is in the golden hatchery. You're picking up this extra MoveQuest that's not oversaturating the market before the demand. So you're not losing the tokens, but those who are here for the long term, here for that long term, wealth building, who understand what this project is doing, where it's going, and how we get there, that's where those tokens are being mined at, because we don't have to worry about them selling pressure. Okay, those tokens are being held on to. And so it makes the mining so much better. And you're starting to see this. Now, I'm going to talk about market correction just a little bit. There'll be times you'll see the ecosystem will push for a market correction. It's testing the community. Okay, that's the best way for me to explain it. So, for example, if you see the ecosystem remove liquidity, and then what it will do is buy MoveQuest. It drives that market up just a little bit, and then it deposits back the remaining liquidity that it removed. What it's looking for is, okay, can it maintain that market value, or will the community unload tokens to get that market value? And it'll do it. You'll notice it'll do it sometimes a couple times a day. Sometimes it'll do it a couple times in a week. If it sees the community is stable, it doesn't have selling pressure at the moment, people aren't going to offload just because there was a little bit of a boost in the market, then the ecosystem knows that it can drive the market value higher and it can inject liquidity to support it. But if it does those market corrections, and it just, pushes for another, a small selling pressure. It doesn't drive it up enough to like do anything that's harmful. It's testing the waters to see what it's going to do next. That's part of the algorithm. And so if you don't see that selling pressure, then the algorithm feels comfortable in driving it up and depositing liquidity to support a higher market value. And it doesn't do it right that instant. Like, okay, nobody sold for an hour or two, so it'll do it. No, it'll play it out for a day or two or three, because it's got to see what trends are. It's all mathematics, okay? And it's all about behaviors. And so you'll see, if you go and you look at the past history over the last couple of weeks, those little market corrections that it did, there was a decent amount of selling when the market correction was made. So what the ecosystem did was let it drop down to where you've seen today. I think, or maybe it was yesterday. I don't remember when it injected. It might have been yesterday. My days run together. But it had gotten down to like $7.01. And I think it injected a little over 30 grand into the liquidity to stabilize it at the $7.01. Why did it do that? Well, because it knows that if it was to drive it back up into that $8.50 range that it would like to see right now, that it would just create a dilution of the liquidity, because it would push people to sell. And so instead of buying any of the MoveQuest to drive the market value up, it just injected the liquidity. So if people are going to sell, it's not going to have a drastic effect on the actual $7 market value. So I hope people are following me on this. This is important when we're looking at now the dynamic mining feature. 633 MoveQuest tokens went out. Same amount of miners, 31,000. It's an average of about 2,600 users, wallets that are engaged in the ecosystem. You guys, when you look at these numbers, you've got to be wowed. Seriously. To look at our liquidity pool, I mean, we're not hype, okay? So it's not one of these pump with several million. And then you've got these whales, rug pulls, and everything else waiting behind the scenes to pull it all out and then sit at a low liquidity. It's a stable liquidity pool. No, it's not millions and millions of dollars. The ecosystem is generating this liquidity through the engagement of a user base. So you're not going to see tens of millions of dollars in a liquidity pool with 2,600 users. You're going to start seeing, tens of millions when you start pushing into when we got 25,000 users, we got 50,000 users, we got 100,000 users. Then you're going to start to see that depth in that liquidity pool. But what this liquidity pool is doing right now with 2,600 engaged users is phenomenal. And you can go and look back over the last year and a half. It is unheard of. I don't care that it's not sitting here with $140 million in liquidity. You're never going to get that with 2,600 people. You all might as well put your houses up, right? If you want to do that, if you want to see that kind of liquidity, because it doesn't come from new investors. It doesn't come from outside sources. It comes from the use of the protocol. It comes from the engagement of the users, from all of the different activities that take place within the application or, the project itself. So really, this is amazing. And you guys should all be excited about this, because 1, it's groundbreaking. 2, it's never been done. 3, it's very stable. And 4, you guys are here first. Okay, so those of you who are holding those tokens, you've got a very bright future ahead of you. That same market value, $7.43. Now what it does is it says, okay, 633 MoveQuest tokens were mined today by 2,614 active users at a market value of $7.43. That's $4,701. Okay, that means that those 633 tokens that were mined would all be able to sell at $7.43. That's only $4,701. And the pool brought in the submission fees for the pool. It brought in $10,392. Okay, so instead of looking at an under value of $11,000, there's an overflow of $5,600. Okay, this is what the dynamic mining has done. Now, a percentage of that is set aside to be injected for the tokens that are sitting in the golden hatchery. And some of it sits there until it sees what the market is doing, it'll inject more. It was what, a month ago, it injected over $500,000 in 1 week. I think it was actually pushing closer to $700,000 over a span of 2 weeks. And you know what? That's great. The community was able to sell off their tokens, the ones that wanted to sell, and it still didn't hurt the liquidity pool. What it did was the ecosystem brought in over 97,000 MoveQuest tokens, because we were sitting at roughly about 310,000 tokens on a daily basis. That's what was in circulation from, in all of the wallets. Well, today we're at 213,000, and we're pretty much staying right about that level, 213,000 MoveQuest tokens. And so that's huge, okay? Basically, that means the ecosystem was able to draw in 100,000 tokens for a few $100,000. Now, if you take that 100,000 tokens, it was 97,000 tokens. Okay, that might have caused people in the community to go ahead and, pull, basically, because when they sell those MoveQuest tokens, it has a hit on the liquidity pool. Well, if it had injected 700,000, we were sitting at about, 350,000 before that injection was pushed. And now we're sitting at around 400,000. So that means the ecosystem brought in almost 100,000 tokens, and it didn't even have an effect. Yes, it was banked liquidity that was injected when it wanted those tokens to come in, okay, out of circulation. If you were to take that same number of tokens, that's not a dollar value. Let me just give a number, okay? That same 97,000 tokens, and let's say, we're going to say 100. Let's say it before those tokens get injected as liquidity, because see, those can never be sold again until they go in to liquidity. So the ecosystem, as you know, the project can never sell these tokens. Once they come in through the ecosystem, they sit in the smart contracts. They're either in the mining boost contracts, your boosts that you purchase. They're in the evolution contract. They're in the mining dot contract. They're in the liquidity vault contract, or they're in the ecosystem wallet for use as liquidity in the future. So that 97,000 that was brought in since October 14th, let's say we're going to wait until, let's say it takes until MoveQuest is at $100. Because see, the ecosystem is already sitting on over 2 million MoveQuest tokens for liquidity. That's massive too. Okay? That's huge. That's 50% of what needs, to be paired to USDT. So the project is so stable, you guys have no idea. 97,000 tokens, okay, might have, cost the ecosystem $600,000-$700,000. But if you take that 97,000 and you times that by the $100, that's $9,700,000 profit for the community, because the project can't sell those tokens. The community sold them, and they've used them for different things within the ecosystem, evolving, like I said, mining dock, the incubator, all these different, pieces that you use for your mining. And if it takes until the token reaches $100, which there's already so much sitting there in reserve, let's say, those are never even touched until it hits $1,000. That's $97 million. And the ecosystem basically, when it injected that extra liquidity to bring in those 97,000 tokens, a cost of what? $500,000? Big deal. But look at what the market value could be if those tokens are injected as liquidity until it reaches $1,000. So this is a big deal, okay, when you have this over amount of submission, because this oversupply or overflow is what I like to call it, the overflow of liquidity, it gets paired to the MoveQuest tokens that the ecosystem is sitting on. And so it beefs up that liquidity pool. So all this stuff is very important. Okay, now where the dynamic mining comes in at, I am going to go up over that in a minute. Now we're sitting right now with that overflow. So when the dynamic mining comes into play, it's going to look at those factors, right? How many miners are being mined with each day? What types of miners are there? How many submissions are there? What is the amount that is that value? What is that daily proof of physical activity submission value? How much money is coming in for that liquidity pool? and then it's going to look at what the market value is, and then it will determine what the mining fee will be. Okay, it could be different every single day, but the goal is to get it down to where it's only pennies per miner, or pennies for all 18 miners. So as the community is growing in size, it's going to really drive down those proof of physical activity submission fees. Because if you have 100,000 people who are mining, or you have 500,000 people who are mining, they're paying the same submission fee for each type of miner, but it's going to look at the market value of the token. It's going to look at what's already in the liquidity pool. It's going to look at several factors, and it determines what that mining fee is for that day. So the more people that are engaged, the lower the mining fees cost. The less people that are engaged, the higher the mining fees will be. But with the dynamic mining, they won't be higher than what they are right now. Okay, so that's a good thing. You don't have to worry about an increase in mining fee. What we're all focused on is a decrease in the mining fees, so you can get it down to next to nothing, right, to be mining those tokens. But as you're building the project, of course, you got to make sure that that's stable and yada, yada. Got to get all that stuff handled. Now I'm going to show you what growth looks like. This is different numbers. This is saying that we're going to get up to the 100,000 miners, okay, that are submitting every day, so we can lock that MoveQuest token value. That's going to be good for you guys who know about the pay-as-you-mine trailblazers, because imagine, okay, today it's $100 for a trailblazer. 6 months from now, it might be $500 for a trailblazer, and you're still getting 50% of that. So as this starts to go viral and as we start to really grow, not only your commissions are less right now, obviously, because we're still in that growth stretch, but once we get to that viral stretch and you're really sharing this, imagine getting $250 every time a $500 trailblazer sells, or when they get to be $1,000. And trust me, people will still pay $1,000, because when they're $1,000, you're looking at a market value of a token that's $20,000 to $25,000. Okay, they're happy to pay $1,000 to be able to mine those tokens. The market value of the token increases as well as the price of the trailblazer. Okay, they work together hand in hand. As the market value goes up, the cost gets more expensive, but the market value is increasing. They're mining less token, but the token has more value. You guys are mining more token at less value today. They're going to be mining less token at a higher value. You guys are banking right now. That's what everybody should be focused on, banking. If you understand what this project is doing, it doesn't take millions of people to get to a Bitcoin market value. It doesn't even take a fraction of that. It's a very small number compared to what Bitcoin is. And if you had 1,200 Bitcoin when they first came out, you would be super stupid wealthy. If you have 1,200 MoveQuest and we only reach the Bitcoin value when we get to 150, 200,000 active users who are mining every day, imagine where your life is setting. And it doesn't take nowhere near what it took for Bitcoin. So you're setting yourself up really well. But what I want to show you here is the growth, okay? When you look at what I've done is I've said, okay, we're going to grow by 1% in the navigators. So people not mining with 282, but now we have 1,000 navigators submitting. And we don't have 1,300 phantoms mining. We have 20,000 phantom mining. Because remember, people can mine with phantoms while they're paying to mine with trailblazers. They don't have the trailblazers yet because they're not paid for, but they're paying for them as they're mining with their phantoms. Okay, so if we increase that by 20%, we now have, and this is 20% of 100,000. Okay, the ultimate goal to get to 100,000 miners. If we increase the trailblazer miners by 20%, you've got 20,000 trailblazers that are now mining. And 4% on explorers, that's 4,000. Vanguards by 25%. Now you're mining with not 12,000, but we've doubled it. We're mining with 25,000. And Titans, if we increase our community where 30% of the miners are mining with Titans, now instead of it being 16,000 Titans, you're looking at 30,000 Titans. So now we've doubled what's coming in of the submission. Now, when you look at this, there's 2,083 MoveQuest tokens that are being mined, okay, because it's 0.25%. And we can still get up to 7,200 MoveQuest tokens per day. Right now, it's 5,000 mining. The other are in the hatchery. I think it's a little bit less than 5,000 from the mining reward. So we still haven't even hit the max amount of MoveQuest that can go out. If our community grows in size fast enough, there's up to 7,200 between the golden hatchery and the daily mining rewards from proof of physical activity that can be mined. Right now, we're only getting 633, plus there's 2,500 and something in the golden hatchery, 2,367, something like that. We still have 4,000, close to 4,000 tokens that can still be mined. So now we're looking at 2,083. Now we're just saying the market value is still at $7.43, right? We've got 8,333 users who are submitting. Okay, we don't even have 10,000 submitters yet. Okay, only 8,333. The mining value of those tokens is 15,000, but from the submissions, it's 21,650 that come in, and so we have an overflow of 6,170. There's still room. You see that 6,170 in overflow. We don't have to have the overflow, is what I'm trying to tell you. Right now, it's good because it's banking up future liquidity. But over the next 2 to 3 weeks, when we start doing the dynamic mining, this is where those fees can start to decrease because of the overflow. Now, if you also look at this, even at the current market value, let's just say the market value is at $20, okay? All right, let's say 15, sorry. 15, okay, we can't do that. $14. And we'll do $12. $10. Okay, now we're at an overflow still. So with the current, if you had this many people who were submitting every single day, and this is with the 8,333 people, 2,000 tokens going out. It's still supporting a market value of $10 fluid, okay, meaning that there's enough money for every single token that can be, if they sold it that day, it wouldn't affect the market value. It could stable that token at $10 without you seeing a drop. Now, if you look at here, the $6.33, if we didn't adjust the market value, this is where you're looking at, I think it was 12 here. Nope, it was 15, was it? I have to put these numbers in to get myself close because I didn't have time to finish this up. Okay, so just under $17. So right now at the current size of the community, if the submission fees, the dynamic mining isn't implemented, this is what the ecosystem could support with its current number of community. Okay, 2,600 users. That's the market value that you could be cashing out every single day with the current submission that comes in. The problem is that the selling pressure at the moment, right? So getting that token to where there's only 200,000 in circulation, that's a big piece of the puzzle right there. That's when you're going to start to see that market value start to climb up into that range. And even with the dynamic mining, let's say that's when it kicks in. And I'm going to have more information on it because I'm still running all the numbers and testing it, because you don't want to have this scenario like we had with the static mining, right? We don't want to move back into a static mining because the dynamic mining calculations aren't perfect. So the calculations have to be perfect. So I'm explaining this to you guys so you see it. I may be confusing you because I'm showing you 3 different scenarios, but I hope you can see where I'm going with this. So at the current submission rate, we really need to get that down to about 200,000 in circulation right now because the growth isn't there. Now, if the growth was there, this token to get to 100,000 miners that are mining, we're just talking stability at the market value of $10. But when you've got 100,000 miners who are actually mining every day, and we have almost that in circulation. So if the existing community engaged, the ones who are not currently engaged, you would see a major major difference in what is taking place in the ecosystem. With this current, what I'm talking about here with doing the dynamic mining, all of these people, 100,000 miners, new miners that, okay, being minted and starting to mine with, it would drive up that market value probably closer to the $50 to the $60 mark. But now you've got more miners who are submitting. And let me make sure that all of these prices increase, that I didn't make some mistake along the way. Okay, no, I didn't. Okay. You've got 100,000 miners. They're submitting every day. It would drive the market value up into that $24 range. So what I'm trying to explain to you is that even with the dynamic mining, we don't have to see green. Okay, because that never happens in crypto. What you want to see is that the demand for the token is there. And this is part of the algorithm with the dynamic mining. The demand for the token is there. The selling pressure isn't higher than what is going into liquidity to maintain a stable market value for those of you who are mining these tokens. It doesn't mean that you're going to be profit positive every single day. What it means is that what is coming in from the submissions is that it's going to stabilize that market value, whatever it is at that day and at that time. It doesn't have to have the green overflow. I like to see the green, so all of my numbers are always geared towards the green. For a year and a half, this is what submissions were. And you've still seen an extremely healthy mining pool. That part didn't change. What has changed, though, when we went to the dynamic mining is that we went into overflow versus the underflow of the liquidity. Still maintaining the market value, same market value, but the dynamics are different. This means that now the pool is going to start to get that depth. It's going to start to deepen, because essentially what's happened now over the last, since October 14th, just to give you guys an idea, the liquidity pool should be able to deposit, right, close to $100,000 every 10 days, right here. Okay, at the current mining rate. Okay, guys, that's huge. We were not there because of the static mining. So the shift that's taken place since October 14th has been a positive on the project. Because even if you're depositing or injecting $100,000 every 10 days, you're still $100,000 short every 10 days. So it didn't have a positive impact on the liquidity pool. Now we have an overflow. And so now you see a positive impact of 100K every 10 days. Now, it doesn't mean it's going to inject 100K every 10 days. It might inject 200,000 or 300,000 every 10 days, and it might not inject anything for a few days. It's all based on what the community is doing, what the demand for the token is, what it's got, all these different, factors that play into it. But the point is, bottom line, with a community of 2,600 people, you're looking at a very healthy liquidity pool. And because we don't have the selling pressure there like was there, now you're going to start to see the pool deepen. And you're going to start to see it hit into the $1 million range, in the 1.2 million, the 1.3 million. And that's a good thing. So if I come over here, not here, here, just to give you an idea, right now, to be fluid, it's only $557,000 in USDT. Okay, that's 55 days away from a fluid pool. That's huge, you guys. Huge, huge, huge. That's a big deal. And this is what we've brought in since October 14th, 96,147 MoveQuest tokens with the new dynamic mining feature. And this is what's in wallets currently, 213,853. 79% of all your tokens are in the golden hatchery. 730,000 tokens are in the tier 4. You guys are loving that tier 4. I mean, who wouldn't? It's automatic compounding for you. You don't have to, claim, draw, deposit, all that stuff on a daily basis. Saves you gas fees, all that other crazy stuff. Yes, this is amazing. You guys hold all these tokens, but the demand for those tokens aren't there. And so by putting them into the hatchery, you get the extra MoveQuest tokens that are being mined every day in the hatchery because you're holding them, not the ones that are going out through the proof of physical activity contract. When you submit that proof of physical activity to the blockchain, that's only an average of 600, 633, whatever it is per day right now. So that's amazing. You guys, it's huge. So next week, or probably in the next 7 to 14 days, we'll come back on a Thursday night. I'm going to do what I'm planning to do right now is updates on Tuesdays at 7. And then on Thursday nights, I'm going to start explaining these different key features of MoveQuest. The different types of miners, why they work, how they work. Next time we meet on a Thursday, I'm going to go over the ecosystem itself, how these tokens are coming in and what that means for you guys. And I'm going to teach you guys how to follow the smart contracts so that you can get up every single day and you have a spreadsheet just like this one. And you'll know exactly what it means. You'll know exactly where this project is sitting because you're going to be able to take those smart contract addresses. You're going to be able to go to SnowScan or SnowTrace. You're going to be able to plunk it in there and you're going to know exactly what it's telling you. You're going to have a really good idea of where every single MoveQuest token is. Every single MoveQuest token is accounted for right down to the very minuscule amount in a wallet, 0.00000000001. Okay. Every single MoveQuest is accounted for. There's not been a single MoveQuest sold from this project, and the tokenomics are so impeccable. And I want you guys to be able to understand exactly what you're sitting on, exactly what you have. You need to be able to understand it. So on Thursday nights, I'm going to start explaining it all. So you guys really, it starts to sink in and starts to absorb. But I think the proof of physical activity fees, I think that is this is the most important, that you understand where these are coming from and now why we can do the dynamic mining, because we don't have 3,000 going out every day. We have 633 at the moment, and we have an overflow of tokens, okay, that are going into that's coming in through your submission fees. More people coming in, engaged in the ecosystem, okay, that increases the submissions, even though they're lower. Okay, the submission fees will be lower, but it will still be able to stabilize the current market value of the token. So right now, you guys, for 2,600 people, you guys are doing fantastic. And right now, with just 2,600 people, the token can stabilize and be fluid at $16.25. Okay, that's unheard of in the crypto space. Unheard of. And that's at the current mining value. Okay, your submission fees. It's making $16.25 per token. So at that point, you're still in profit. But that dynamic mining will start to kick into, working, and you'll start to see how that all works. The thing we don't ever want to see is this, right? You always want to make sure that whatever's going into circulation is positive flow. You don't want to have this where you're always, coming up short. Even though that $10,392 that was coming in, yes, it's not going to stabilize it at $7.43. So if the selling pressure is there, it can go in, it can do market corrections, it can inject the liquidity, but it's going to have a hard time getting up to that $100 mark, because if everybody was to sell what they mined that day, 3,000 tokens, there was only 50% of you would have been able to sell them at $7.43. The rest of you, it would have drove it down into the $6.25 range, $6 range. Okay. Then the next day, when the submissions come in, the ecosystem could do a little bit of a market correction, inject the liquidity, drive it up just a little bit more, but it's still the same scenario. 3,000 tokens going into circulation every day. The mining difficulty, it was oversaturation of tokens. Now the mining difficulty is extremely high. You're competing for those tokens, but it's an overflow of liquidity that is coming into the market. So even if we put this back down to $7.43, it's an overflow of $5,600. Okay, now you're talking about beefing up your liquidity. Or the dynamic mining kicks in and says, okay, maybe it only drops at a few pennies, but that few pennies adds up over 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, or a year. But it's all built into an algorithm. So I could go on and on and on about this, and I'd be saying the same thing a different way 100 times. But that's what I wanted. That's tonight's. I really wanted to go over the mining, the submission fees, how they work, and why the dynamic mining is so much better than the static mining, and why you want to be in the golden hatchery. It didn't cut out the amount of tokens that are going out to you as a reward for mining. and for becoming healthier and doing all that physical activity. It's just mining them in a different way. Okay, you're getting them through the hatchery. Because why? Because you're not selling them before the demand is there. So it's rewarding you for that. That's all there is to that. So if you're serious about the project and you're serious about your health and you're serious about the future wealth, the Golden Hatchery is where you want to collect those extra tokens. You're getting them every single day. So you want to include them when you're looking at, oh, gee, I only got one MoveQuest today. Cost me $7.20. Market value is only $7. Well, if you're in the Golden Hatchery, you probably got 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 more. You can get you can get 50 a day over there. It just depends on how many MoveQuests you get locked up, into that hatchery. You decide how many you're getting out of that contract. It's not based on, a global mining, pool. It's based on, this is what I locked up. This is what the reward is for being in that Golden Hatchery. You're in control of what you get. I mean, I know there's people in there that are mining and they're making double and triple what they were getting from their proof of physical activity when the 3,000 was being oversaturated. And this is important too with the dynamic mining, with that overflow and everything that's going on, because those of you who have got those tokens locked up in the Golden Hatchery, you want that pool to have that depth, right? And we've got some amazing projects that are going to be coming your way. I can't wait to start sharing those. So you guys, when our blockchain comes up, think about this. People have to have MoveQuest every time for gas fees. Every time they do anything on our blockchain, they have to have MoveQuest. You're holding that MoveQuest. The only way they get it is if you sell it. That's huge. That's a big deal. That's huge, huge, huge. You guys have no idea. So acquiring as much of that MoveQuest as you can right now is really, really important for you guys. That hatchery is where you want to be. All right. Did that help people understand what happens with the proof of physical activity, the submission fees and all that stuff, how that operates? All right, the next thing I'm going to share with you guys. So the pay-as-you-go Trailblazers, this is kind of an update, but I'm just going to give you a little bit for a minute anyway. Those tokens, okay, you're actually, when you do the pay-as-you-mine Trailblazers, you're going to be getting an ERC 1155 token. Okay, and probably many of you don't know what those are. Some of you may, if you're in the gaming world or interested, if you play in the gaming world in crypto. That ERC 1155, because of the chip system that we're going to be using, every time you pay, you're getting like a little portion of this chip, this mining chip. And they all stack up on top of each other. It's like a puzzle, okay? They all connect until you've completed the full chip so that you can go get your Trailblazer. So basically, that ERC 1155, it's a smart contract that you're not minting the entire Trailblazer at one time. It's like building up this inventory of all these little chips, okay, that you're going to piece together to get that Trailblazer. So it's like a lot of little pieces of one NFT. I know that probably doesn't make a whole ton of sense, but hopefully you guys are kind of understanding what I'm explaining. So I was just talking to somebody today about fractionalized NFTs. It's kind of like that. But basically it is. I mean, it's a fragment of an NFT. And you're getting, or of a token, the 1155 token. So you're getting these little fragments every time you pay towards your Trailblazer miner, and all of these fragments are combined to unlock that Trailblazer miner. And so you're basically assembling a chip. You're assembling many pieces like a Lego. You're assembling many pieces to get to this Trailblazer. And that's, again, all on chain. That way nothing's being managed. It's not centralized. Everything we do, you guys, we do it in a decentralized way so that you're in complete and total control. Those chips can be transferable. They can be given away. So maybe you're, doing it for somebody else, as a gift or whatever. You'd be able to present them with an entire chip so they can go get their Trailblazer. So hopefully you guys, it also drops down mining costs, and I'll go over all of it. You guys can look up what an ERC 1155 token is, but it's kind of like an inventory system. Um, it's pretty cool. So we're going to be going over more of that. This should be ready here in the next day or two. I know Waleed, here's what I told him. Instead of him trying to come up with a fix for what Trust Wallet has hiccuped on, they're going to fix their problem. Okay, because there's already a bunch of other projects that have submitted the same issue. So they'll find a fix, they'll fix it. Instead of us trying to come up with, a fix on our end, a temporary fix, because that'll take a lot of time. It doesn't stop you from using the DApp. If your wallet is connected, you don't connect our app to a wallet. You just link it. So all you have to do is paste in the wallet address. It's only for read-only purposes. So it doesn't stop you from doing anything inside the app. It does have an issue with the Web3. So what you can do is you can take that wallet address, you can import it into MetaMask or another wallet, another DApp wallet, using your 12-word passphrase or your private key so that you can still access that wallet to get to the Web3. So it doesn't stop you from being able to access. It just means you have to jump through a couple hoops to get it, to work. But we're not going to take the time to find a fix for a Trust Wallet problem. Well, we got enough of our own stuff to do. Trust Wallet will fix it. It won't take them long. I'm sure within the next few days, you guys will see that Trust will have an update and it'll be done. But we have our own things to worry about and not to fix another project's problem. So there's a roundabout way you guys can, handle that. Just like I said, import the wallet into MetaMask or one of the other DApp wallets that you like to use, and bam, you're back in business. It doesn't affect you where the DApp is concerned because that's just a read-only feature. You just link it so that we can read it, and that's it. There's no connecting it to the DApp. So that doesn't stop you from working in that at all. All right, guys, 8 o'clock, 1 hour. I don't want to make these Thursday nights run on until 9 or 10 o'clock, or we might as well just start them at 9. Those of you got kids or grandkids or whatever, they probably need to go to bed, school, whatever is going on. So that's all I have, unless Herschel, there's anything urgent that we need to talk about.
Not at all. And I do remember hearing you say you're going to be doing more of these on the, as we move towards the end of or
every Thursday night now,
every
starting
Thursday.
now.
Perfect.
Every Thursday night. So Tuesday nights will be our update calls. Thursdays will be kind of like, let's learn what MoveQuest is from me. I'll tell you everything from my point of view, how I created it and what it means and how it works and that kind of stuff. So
Okay. And would you prefer to maybe, because I know there's going to be a lot of calls, and the questions that come in the chat, just so we don't keep you, for extended periods of time, if I capture those, maybe we can actually, cover those on the Tuesday call or we
that would be
can
great.
in the week
That's
send
perfect.
something out just to elaborate on some of those things, just so that
I think that's a good idea.
keep it succinct and, not tax everybody out.
Gives us an idea of what, people are asking. And for sure, I think that's a really good idea.
Okay, perfect.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay. So we will do that. Listen, I definitely appreciate the way you're doing this, because everybody needs to really understand, I know some people, when it comes to crypto, when it comes to spreadsheets, when it comes to math, and all those things. But at the same time, we really want to know and understand what it is that we have, because that's what differentiates us from all the other things that are in this space or what have
When
you.
you're spending your money, you should know where it's at. You know what I mean? What is it doing for you?
Exactly. Or what have you. So,
One of the other things too is for those of you who are having, a little slow to catch on, it's okay because it's normal like that. I mean, even from
It is.
sports, you got to start at ground zero and take your time, but expose yourself to the information regularly, and eventually it catches on. It catches on, and you'll find after a week, 2 weeks, a month, 2 months, after a year, you may be talking crypto language that other people can't understand. So take time, just be patient with yourself. You'll catch it. just expose yourself to it on a regular basis, and it's just you're gonna impress it upon your subconscious mind. And as you go to sleep, by the morning, you'd be surprised how much your mind has absorbed.
Yeah, and like next Tuesday, I've got several of my documents done. So I'm going to give all of you guys a PDF that has all of the crypto terms that we use in MoveQuest, but all of the crypto terms that you need to know. So you can go and look them up. Oh, what is this? What did she just say? Okay, that's what this means. That's what that means. So I've been getting all of that compiled too, so we can start doing these, step by step. What does everything mean? You can go back and watch them again. You can break down the pieces that you need. You can go look up what the terms are, on that PDF, which will also be available under the help section. It'll be adding a whole bunch of them this week as well, to the help section in the website, so that you can start to understand what it is that you're doing and what it means. I mean, by the time you get done, you guys, when I got started, I've been Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple. I've basically just dealt with those types of coins before I started digging into the NFT space. And the first time I ever used the Binance Smart Chain, it had to have this DApp wallet. You guys, I about threw my computer out the window. I'm not kidding you. I was like, screw this shit. I could care less about the Binance Smart Chain. I don't care about this DApp wallet crap. I'm not even dealing with it. I'm sticking with my Bitcoin and what I do and trade every day and that kind of thing. I don't need this, And the person that was trying to get me going with it, he kept coming back. Listen, you just have to figure it out, and then you'll be good with it, buying the token again. I had never dealt with Binance Smart Chain. I had never dealt with Avalanche. I'm very narrow-minded on things that I do. I don't let people, pull me in, different directions. I'm pretty much focused on what I do, and what I was doing was perfectly working well for me. I didn't need this extra hassle. So I get it, you guys. I started out in crypto many years ago, and I didn't have a clue about it. Not a clue. I did some really stupid things, you guys. Everybody's going to. Everybody has to learn it sometime. So you're going to have that challenge. You're going to get frustrated with it. You're going to absolutely hate it before you fall in love with it. Literally. And then once you get it, I'm telling you right now, you will never, ever do anything but crypto, because crypto is where you're going to have financial freedom. Crypto is where you're in control. Crypto is where nobody can take anything from you, and you build your own wealth on your terms. And that's what, when you're done with MoveQuest, you will understand the crypto space so well. You're going to know what the shitty, crappy projects are that you want to run from, that you've probably many been drug into or been talked into, or the hype gotcha, made sense, but only because they make it make sense, because you really didn't have a clue what they were talking about. It just sounded good. You're going to actually know now what to look for. If you don't have a self-funding ecosystem, if you've got deep pockets, if the project is selling the token, if the project is using the token for marketing and for all these other things that they claim to do with it to make their project robust that still crashes and fails, you're going to know in an instant. People send me projects all the time. I know exactly what to look for, and it takes me less than 5 minutes. I tell them it's a crapshoot. I go back and I ask them 3 months later, is it still there? Nope, it's gone. 99% of them are always gone. I never get into them, and they almost always do. And then they tell me, you know what? I'm going to start listening to you. And now they're, some of them are actually listening to me. They're actually seeing that by understanding crypto and by staying away from the hypey, crappy projects, now they're actually starting to be in profit mode, and they're starting to make money in crypto, and they're starting to understand it, and they're loving it. They're falling in love with it. They're not seeing crypto as a big scam market. The only reason these scams are successful is because people keep falling for the crap, and they keep going into it. And it's just, what do they say? You can put a different color lipstick on a pig, and it's still a pig. Doesn't matter, right? And so these projects are all the same. They all have the same system, and they don't work. As you keep jumping into them, they're still not going to work. Even if they make them sound pretty and, fluffy and, oh, well, they've learned, they're doing this a little different. They've got, a huge community. They got huge investors. They got all this blah, 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 blah. Well, guess what? They still fall away because they don't have what that crypto project needs. And you guys, we don't need outsource or outside investment money. We don't need new money coming in. That's why those trailblazers, you guys, the pay-as-you-mine trailblazers, that's a gift to you and your community. And I'll tell you why. Because you're getting 50% commission when somebody mints those pay-as-you-mine trailblazers, right? Every time they collect a chip, you're getting paid. You're not getting paid when they do the final trailblazer. You're getting paid every time they acquire a fraction of that NFT, that 1155. You're getting paid. This is being dripped on you every single day, every single day, every single day. If you have a lot of people that are doing it, you're getting a lot of, daily revenue that's going to help you cover your submission fees. And because we don't need that new money, but that Trailblazer, it doesn't use MoveQuest, okay? It uses AVAX because it happens simultaneously with your submission fee. Your submission fee on the Avalanche chain is AVAX. On the other chains, it'll be whatever those native tokens are for that chain, including MoveQuest. And you get on the MQT blockchain, it will reward you in MQT, which is a bonus, right? But we didn't need that new money. So what does that mean? Okay, you get 50% of it because the project doesn't need it, okay, to be stable. And the other 50% is liquidity. So you just beefed up your liquidity pool so that over 2 million MoveQuest tokens, now every time somebody does a pay-as-you-mine Trailblazer, it's additional liquidity. It deepens the liquidity pool. It's not part of the submission fee. It's a separate fee. There's the submission fee, there's the pay-as-you-mine fee. That pay-as-you-mine fee deepens the liquidity pool. And you're getting 50% of it. So that's just a bonus for the entire community. So that's a really big deal, that pay-as-you-mine. And it opens up the doors for more people to be able to get started. They don't have to come out of pocket right up front. They can do as they go they can use the Phantom Trailblazers and be acquiring these microchips or these, 1155 ERC 1155 chips, fractionalized chips of their NFT. And like I said, every time they acquire a chip, you get paid. So it's another, source of revenue for all of you. It's your, to me, I look at it as your proof of physical activity bank. If you want me to be honest with you, because it's giving you that AVAX. So it's amazing. You guys, we've got the best project in the market in the crypto space. We really do. It's a lot to take in, but so what? You know what? You're not dead yet, so you might as well learn. Everybody should learn something new every day. What better to learn than crypto? You should never stop learning until they put that final nail in the coffin. Then you're done. That's the way I look at it. Every day is a learning experience. What better to learn than a way to get wealthy? Oh, and you guys are going to love some of these projects that are coming up. I'm not releasing it yet because there's still, some of them are, all the decisions are coming, but oh yeah. Yep, some first timers too, like some things that still haven't been done in this space. We are cornering this market like you guys have never seen before. So that's all I got. I could go on and on. You guys, I could sit here and talk about MoveQuest till the wee hours in the morning.
All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and cut it here. And I did capture all the questions, and we'll work on those for you for Tuesday to fill in any gaps either there or in the groups between now and then. So
and if we do, we could also create a good PDF or a good fax page on all those questions where we could actually, because a lot of these questions that come in, they come in frequently. So if we get them all in one location and get them answered, then people will have a resource to go back to as well.
Perfect. That'll work. And let's see here.
And don't you guys love that? I love that clip from Derek. It cracks me up. He must go into all these chats or whatever where I'm at, and he must pick up things I say. Cracked me up. I loved it.
He may have just taken some of the Zooms.
Oh yeah, it was hilarious. I loved it. His other two, he has 3 in total. They're all good. You could probably play that first one as we end this out if you wanted.
That's the one that I did play.
Okay. The first one of the 2 I sent you. So not the first one because you already played it, but then I sent you 2 more.
Oh, my bad.
The first one of the 2.
Here you go. Boom. She coming, y'all.
The MoveQuest token in June. a unique gamified ecosystem that incentive raises physical activity by turning movement into real financial rewards. MQT is a utility token at the heart of the MoveQuest platform, where users earn tokens by completing various fitness challenges, participating in quests, and tracking daily activities such as walking, running, and more. With MQT, users can unlock premium features, enhance their earning potential through power boosters, and lease or upgrade assets within the platform. The token supports a self-sustaining economy that encourages a healthy lifestyle while offering financial benefits. Built on the Avalanche blockchain, MQT ensures secure, transparent transactions, giving users full ownership and control over their digital assets. MQT, 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 MQT. Join the MoveQuest community and transform your daily activity into valuable rewards with MQT, the token that bridges health and wealth. MQT, 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 MQT.
I ain't trading minutes for a paper wage. I'm writing my own story on a digital page. Every step is a heartbeat, every breath is a toll. I'm uploading the fire from the depths of my soul. The satellite is watching, the ledger's open wide. There ain't no room for lazy, and there ain't no place to hide. MoveQuest calling, the signal is green. I'm the most valuable motor in this whole machine. This is my proof of life, forged in the struggle and the daily strife. I'm moving to earn, I'm earning to grow. From the top of the mountain to the valley below, it's a blockchain bond that you cannot break. My sweat is the currency, my life is the stake. Proof of life. They used to say wealth was a suit and a tie, but a man in a cage is just waiting to die. Now the wealth is your health, is the law of the land. I'm holding my future in the palm of my hand. Verified movement, a signature, a bone. I'm reclaiming the power of the heavy unknown. This is my proof of life, A song, soul, electric guitar, solo. Lots of bands and high notes, keeping that song sticks at BPM energy high. This is my proof of life. Forged in the struggle and the daily strife. I'm moving to earn, I'm burning to grow. From the top of the mountain to the valley below. Move on, earn your soul. Move on, take control. The ledger is witness to the miles I've run. Proof of life. Verified. Verified.
And good evening, everyone. We'll see you on the next one.